All rise to the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is Mayor Springer, and I call this meeting to order Wednesday, March 19th at 7 o'clock. Clerk Carr, could you please let us tell us how many people are online
We have 6 participants online.
and who else is joining us?
Joining us tonight, we have City Attorney Chris Coker also online. And I believe we have Commander Timmons of the Aberdeen Police Department here in person.
Will you do roll call,
I
please?
will. Councilmember Skinner,
Present.
Councilmember Wynn, Councilmember Spargo,
Here.
Councilmember Colette,
Present.
Councilmember Darcy.
Here.
All council members are here
So on to approve our agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting with the changes,
with any changes.
with any changes?
Councilmember Darcy, moves to approve the agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second. Councilman Skinner seconds.
Is there any discussion?
Yes, Councilman Skinner has discussion. I spoke with the clerk yesterday about amending the agenda to add the interlocal agreement with Aberdeen Police onto tonight's agenda. And after a little bit of discussion, decided to hold off, and at my comment period, I will bring it up so that it can be brought and put on the agenda for our first meeting in April and voted on at that time. It has to be done right, or we'll do it in April. We'll have it again in May, because it has to be done by. Yeah, it should be done by the end of next month. Yes.
April 30th is the end date of the current
So
agreement.
if we do the agreement at the meeting, or agree to it at that time, will be plenty of time to get it. Okay.
Is the discussion complete? All those in favor of approving the agenda?
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed? Consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Make a motion. Councilman Skinner, make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Councilman Spargo seconds.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor of approving the consent agenda? Say
Aye.
aye. All those opposed? Okay, council comments at this time. Are there any council comments at this time? Hearing none, we'll move on to committee report, auditing committee.
I looked over the vouchers yesterday,
Okay,
more than fine.
okay. Parks committee,
No meeting, no report at this time.
public safety committee.
We had a meeting on Monday and, we discussed, several different things, including the agreement between us and Aberdeen in regards to, the fact that the deadline to take action on that is fast approaching.
Okay. Okay. Public work, Mr. Skinner, Councilman Skinner, anything else to add to that?
I had a conversation with Nick. Is this the time, Nick, then to ask about confirming the new?
No, we took care of that during public safety,
Okay,
so there's no more action there.
okay, okay.
Okay, public works.
Public Works, our new guys are being onboarded, pretty quickly. They will get to do a sewer tap, next week up at the Stanford Drive RV Park. And we will also hopefully be getting them some new stop signs, and we'll be putting them in around the school first to start replacing some of those whited out stop signs I spoke about, last month.
Councilmember Darcy,
Yeah, we
anything?
had, HDR, right, here this last week, and so Public Works employees, myself, mayor, we all went up around, the dam, and the representative went over. We had a meeting first initially in Austin House for about an hour, and then we went up to the actual dam, and he went over things that we needed to look at, and be aware of, and just, answer any questions that we had around it, and seems to be, we have a tree that's in the culvert that needs to be removed, but other than that, I think there was one other tree, but it seems to think that everything looks okay with the dam right now, but it gave us list of things to keep an eye on and add it to the public works check. Keep an eye on, that's supposed to be checked. Yeah,
Thank you, Councilmember Darcy. City official report, Clerk Barr.
Thank you. I would like to first of all thank Clerk Grove for hosting my portion of the meeting last month. She did a great job. Thank you. It's been a busy time for me. I'm a new grandma again. That's why I wasn't here. And I also went to training put on by MRSC for the finance boot camp training. It was a week long in Longview. I had a scholarship to that, so it didn't cost the city any money other than the hotel. It was really good, learned a lot. It's very jam-packed full of information, a lot of topics, a little bit on each. Definitely some things that we could bring back to the city, so that's really good. I got some really good nuggets out of that, made some good contacts with other clerks and other officials that were attending all the way from Port Townsend to Longview. So it was a really good learning for me.
Moving on to Chief Layman.
Good evening, Mayor Springer and council members. First of all, for services contract, the Aberdeen Police Department just wanted to convey that it continues to be a asset for the police department and our community. Since the agreement began May 1st, 2024, they've handled 151 calls for service in our community. Specifically, since January 1st, they've handled 32 calls for service after hours, varying from civil complaints to in-progress violent crimes, and helped us out with a few where we were responsible, but they came over and helped us. I met with their public safety committee this week and asked them to present an addendum to you, which I hope you will consider, to extend the contract through December 31st of this year. I've submitted the contract to our city attorney and had him review it. Gives it a green light, thumbs up, so that it's fine and good language for our city. And Aberdeen will be presenting that contract to their council at their next meeting, and I hope it will be approved so that there's no delay in that and there won't be any interruption in the assistance of service. I'll defer to the public safety committee members of the council for further information on that as they introduce that to you. Case updates, we made significant progress in a few investigations, one being some DNA evidence on a sexual assault. I'll speak up generically, but it was a big deal for the case, ensuring that somebody will be held accountable, as long as things go correctly with the court, which in this case, we won't have any problems with that. A couple of residential burglaries and commercial burglaries that we've been working on for months. Got some progress this week on them with the prosecutor's office, one where they've filed charges finally, and the other one where warrants were issued for those suspects. So that was a good step forward for us. Our agency itself handled 196 offenses since the last council meeting, and Nick and I have stayed busy. Sometimes it looks like it's nothing but traffic, but I promise there's more than that going on. Our newest reserve officer is performing well, progressing through the field training program. Again, at no charge to the city, volunteering is hours of service, and hopefully become even more valuable to us as potential for changes and things that are in the future, somebody that can cover shifts. So I look forward to getting him on board. I'm pleased to report that the evidence cabinet in the new municipal building was installed today, and the cabinet doors are on. It looks phenomenal. And with that, I want to give as much acknowledgement and thanks to our police clerk, Grove's husband, Jeremy, and to Officer Nick Bailey, who's donated a whole bunch of hours in creating that, going to the store, picking up the components for it, soliciting significant discounts from Home Depot for the materials, and just doing it as absolutely as inexpensive as possible. And it looks phenomenal. So thanks to Home Depot, Jeremy Grove, and Nick Bailey for helping me get that accomplished. It looks really good. It doesn't look like it's some half
janky thing together, but looks really nice, and I think it'll be a nice, component of our municipal building when we get into it. That concludes my report, other than I will say to you that, I got 40 hours of training last week. It cost the city nothing. I paid for it out of my own pocket. No expense whatsoever to the city for the class, my travel, my per diem, the hotel, I took care of myself and fulfilled my state required mandated training for the year. So, I have those hours met, so that's one less thing to worry about this year.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
appreciate that. Commander Timmons, would you like to,
Yeah, I have nothing to add.
is there any questions for Commander Timmons? Okay. Chief Bell.
Thank you. I think we made comment before the meeting started, but we did have one of the furnaces in the station go out. It's a little bit cooler in here than usual. We're working with advanced heating to get a bid for the replacement of that furnace, unfortunately. With that, station maintenance, we've been having an ongoing fire alarm issue since the beginning of the year. We've handled hundreds of phone calls from the alarm company, I think, at this point. They've been out a few times. I really want to thank the elementary school for allowing us to use their scissor lift every time that the technicians come down to work on the system. They'll be out again this Friday, hoping to get this resolved. But I think all the sensors in the building are just going out one by one, slowly, so we're having them all replaced at this point, so. We have Ford and Fire Academy, which Lieutenant while I was out, they completed their hazardous materials training and now they're working on their fire curriculum. We have 3 others in EMT class that just passed their midterm evaluations. All 3 of them passed, so they're moving on to the second half of that training. And then Monday night, we confirmed the membership of one new member to the fire department. We were able to onboard him in January. I'm just having confirmed the other night. We're excited to have him. Thank you for my report.
Okay, thank you.
And Chief, he replaces your retired,
Yes, we had one retire out of the
Retiree.
year. He comes on there.
and so your number's at 25 still then,
20.
or 20?
Yep.
Yeah, it's 20.
Okay, building official Bill Sedor.
Well, it's been a really busy month. Last 30 days, I've sent out numerous notices on different things. One notice was on an illegal dump site up on Franklin Drive. And I've got another one that's gonna be going out on the residents at 601 E Street. The condition of that house is something needs to be done to it. Been getting a lot of complaints on it, and I've still got several other complaints that I've been working on, and we'll be proceeding through the process on those. Building permits, there hasn't been a whole lot of building going on right at the moment. We do have a new manufactured home that's gonna be coming in, placed on a lot over on Disler. Yeah, that's about it.
Okay, I'll go ahead and speak to the mayor's report. Update on our Mill Creek Park grant. That was $100,000 grant from the state RCO grant. This week, the new roofing on the gazebo and on the bathroom should be complete. We did run into additional costs that we were not anticipating. When they took the shakes off, we thought there was just a few rotten, what is that called? The decking underneath. Come to find out the entire roof needed to come off because it was all dry rot. So we want to make sure that we're doing it right. Looking at the grant, we're going to still be able to stay within the grant parameters and be able to get the work done that we need to do. So that was good. Just a reminder, we'll be opening up the tennis courts, hopefully the 1st of June as that grant, that's the end date for that grant. If you see kids on that tennis court or somebody in there throwing a ball for their dog because it's enclosed, or you see kids on roller skates or those razor skates, please remind them not to be on the courts. pickleball court or the new tennis court. Those courts are very, very expensive. That was a 30,000 we finished for that court up there. And then, I know the Highland Park, when we did that, that was $7,000 for that paint job. Now it's 8 to 9,000. It's a very specialized paint. We get that kind of stuff up. If it tells the paint, the water gets underneath, it can damage. And the court up there is in really good shape. In fact, I just had an acquaintance, well, actually a good friend who plays pickleball 7 days a week and is in every tournament. We had a nice day and she came over here and she plays at all of the courts, even Ocean Shores everywhere. And she said that our court up there at Highland Park is one of the best pickleball courts here in Grays Harbor. So that kudos to us. And then moving on, just a reminder, we had a lot of trees that came down in the park. I did have an individual who belongs to, one of our service clubs that is a nonprofit and made a comment to me that it was okay for them to go in and cut the trees because they were a nonprofit. That is not the case. No one can just go into the parks, even if you are a nonprofit, and cut the trees. The trees are being taken care of. Our public works are on top of it, and then we did a donor who is also, has paid for some of the trees to be removed, so it's not coming out of the city funds, and it will be cleaned up in time for the open. One of the things that, as we look for partnerships, you know, as a small city, we operate on a very, very tight budget. It's not gonna change for a while. So one of my goals this year is to develop partnerships in the city. I'm really happy to announce, we have some very good, partnerships within the city. Sherwin-Williams, who has really helped out with discount on our paint. The college right now has our city sweeper up there, and they are doing all the work on it. It's only a $35 fee for them to do it and $300 for the park, which would probably have cost us $3,000 to $4,000. And so we are going to kind of move into a contract with them that they will be doing the maintenance on our equipment, which will save an enormous amount of money. So the other thing, the snowflakes, you know, need to come down. And so we were always waiting to borrow somebody's lift. Last year, Tom reached out to five-star Ford here in South Aberdeen. And he spoke with Damon over there, who is one of the owners, and he let us use the lift. So I called Damon and said, you know, I'd like to see if we could use the lift again. Do we need some kind of agreement? And he was, I want to help you out. Anytime you need that lift, there is no cost. You know, the person that's operating will fill that out. And I said, I only anticipate using it 4 times a year. We may need it one more. And he said, you know, we are there for you. It's just amazing when we reach out, how people are willing to really help us. And again, like our partnership with Aberdeen, you know, we're moving forward because of partnerships and people and different agencies that are supporting us. So the snowflakes are coming down. The Causey pedal pushers, who is overseen by Marty Schumacher, they did just purchase 6 more pots, 2 as you're coming in and going out of town around the signs. And so they are looking for volunteers who will want to help plant those or help maintain them, because, you know, it is people watering those plants during the summer. And so if you know of anybody or if they're interested, have them reach out to Monty Schumacher. We've had several calls about the garage sale. Our citywide garage sale will be June 21st and 22nd. And then we've had several calls about spring cleanup. As you know, that program stopped a few years ago because the city financially could not support that at that time. Hopefully down the road, it may be something that we can do. If you have been to City Hall and you've looked at the sidewalk and the beds outside City Hall, I have to tell you, I've been here 20 years. I've never seen them look so amazing. They are clean. The beds are done now. Our 2 new public work employees are right on it, and they're working with Tom, and we're going right down First Street. So we will be reaching out to businesses to partner with those businesses to help clean up all the brick and all the benches as we go down First Street and just making sure that our corridor really shines this summer. With that said, council member Darcy talked about the Mill Creek Dam. We've had a couple inspections up there. Matthew, Propsy, is that how you say his name? He was one of the main engineer for that dam. I have to tell you, I was so impressed with him. As I said, this was the second inspection. He came and sat down with our two new public works employees and really went through every step of maintenance on that dam. And it actually needs to be happening monthly. That dam should have been opened 3 times this year, every year. That hadn't happened. It will now happen. That dam is also, it's not just water retention, it's also recreation and fish. And the goal this year is to keep the water in that dam for recreational use. And we can do that until the first May 1st. The dam has to be filled, we shut it. And then October, we start letting it out. So he really provided a lot of information, even with all of the research I've done, and even with the past person who was here. He was really able to speak to all the components of the dam and how it operates. And so, very, very knowledgeable. Myself and Clerk Barr and Councilman Skinner, we are on the comprehensive stormwater plan. We had Cindy Kaiser come down. She's one of the head engineer from HDR, and she's working with us to make sure that we're not going to lose this opportunity, as it's like 244,000, to make sure that projects are done and done in a timely manner. Brian Shea from Holcomb is managing the grant. However, Cindy will be really working hand in hand with us again. I'm always amazed about the support that we do get from these agencies to help us understand what needs to be done and how to accomplish what has to take place. The new municipal building will be open. Our grand opening will be April 2nd from 4 to 6. Please come. Please invite other people. We will be sending out letters. I'm going to be sending an article to the Daily World. We are planning on having a ribbon cutting, and that will be from Greater Grace Harbor Business. And so that's exciting. The plans are that we will be moving in at the end of April. And the expectation, we may have to be closed for 4 or 5 days with the move. So we'll keep you updated on that. So on to new business. Item 1, new planning commission appointees. We have 2 new appointees for the planning commission. As I was reviewing the planning commission, we'd get going and it would stop, and there was never a consistent schedule with that, even prior to me becoming mayor. And so we really want to get on track that we're having monthly meetings of lots of things in the city to address. Ken Cummings was the chair, and Bill Newman, and they both served the city well, and had many, many years on it. When I showed that we were going to have monthly meetings and that we had quite a few things to address, Mr. Cummings felt like it was time to step down, and he's been here quite a long time because he would have had to reapply for the position. And Bill Newman, he was ready to step down. I thank them both. We will be sending a formal letter thanking them. Tonight, I'm happy to say we have 2 new appointees that I would like the council to confirm. I'm going to ask them to stand and introduce themselves, and if they'd like to say anything about them. And I apologize, Brian, I know you probably didn't know I was gonna ask you to do that, but, so Dr. Borden, if you would stand.
Hi, I'm Jeff Borden. I'm a public health and safety psychologist. I'm a former federal law enforcement officer and firefighter with the Coast Guard Reserve, and a retired Army officer, where I was a liaison officer with FEMA. I was involved in a number of programs and disasters with them during my career. So I have a background in community planning and development, and I did that extensively in Afghanistan for several years. And so I wanted to get more involved with the community and see if my skill sets might be of some assistance.
Great, thank you.
And then, right? Gish.
Ryan Gish, store manager at the local Sherwin Williams. Come here to the city of Cosmopolis in 2021. My experiences at this point is entry level into planning, but I've been managing multi-million-dollar business for about 4 years now. And my hope is to just bring a new perspective. I've come to love this town. I was transplanted here. I really much enjoy the town, so I'm just trying to provide whatever.
Great.
So
Thank you.
at this time, as I said, I have appointed them. I would just like the council to confirm.
Yes, confirmed.
Confirm.
And then Carrie will, clerk Barr will swear them in.
Come on up, gentlemen. Okay, just repeat after me. I
I, Jeff Borden,
Hi, Brian Gish.
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear,
Do solemnly swear.
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
support the Constitution of the United States
and go ahead,
Support the Constitution of the United States.
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Washington,
and the Constitution and laws of the state of
And
Washington,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Washington.
and all ordinances for the city of Cosmopolis, Washington,
and all ordinance for the city of Cosmopolis, Washington,
and that, go ahead.
And all ordinances for the city of Cosmopolis, Washington.
And that I will faithfully and impartially perform and discharge,
and I will faithfully and
impartially,
discharge
I will faithfully and impartially discharge
the duties of the office of planning commissioner
duties of the office of planning commissioner
the office of planning commissioner
according to the law and the best of my ability.
on the best of my ability.
according to the law and the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
And welcome.
Welcome. I'll have you sign after the meeting.
Okay.
Nice.
Nice meeting.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, item 2. Clerk Barr, will you now present a proposal of the cemetery and animal license?
I will. I believe council members, you all have this in your packet to kind of go over. I'll start with animal licenses first. I did look at what Aberdeen had for theirs, and so adjusted ours kind of in accordance to what they have for their fees over there. The only change is animal impound fees. We just have to go with whatever Aberdeen is going to charge us on that. So those are actual costs incurred. So that is kind of an addition that we didn't have on the resolution prior. The fee adjustments are fairly minor. I know the 67% increase for replaced, damaged or lost tags seems like a big percentage increase, but that's just because our costs for tags have gone up. The next one will be the cemetery fee schedule. I will tell you right now, we are still the most cost-effective cemetery in the area. So the fees have gone up some, not a lot. I don't know if you have any questions on it. One comment I will make is that we don't have a lot of spaces left in the cemetery. So that's one thing the planning commission will need to work towards. But I think that these are in line with what I think they should be increased to. Again, we're so much lower than a lot of the other areas, but I think that we still want to provide that service for our citizens, especially being as how we only have a few areas left. So at the next meeting, I will format these into resolution. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please do send them off or be prepared to, talk to them later, or if you like, you can talk to them at this time.
I have one question. Do we have anything besides the fee schedule around the cemetery as far as stipulations around who can actually, be buried up there?
Only resident or non-resident, right? Anybody can be.
Right.
We give preference to resident, obviously by a much lower fee. It's like half the cost if you're a resident. Other than that, there are no specific stipulations.
So as far as the space available up there, is that gonna fall under just, is that would be parks,
Actually, I think it's the responsibility of the planning commission to kind
Planning
of review
commission,
that. So that's why I
Right.
said, I think the planning commission
Yeah.
probably needs to review to determine.
Yeah, to start figuring out.
Correct.
what the Long-term situation is.
Correct, correct.
And,
Yeah.
Is there opportunity for expansion or not, and do we want to?
and I do have a
Or
call,
other ways of interning.
Correct.
right, and I do have a call into the state when I called Aberdeen and I spoke with Aberdeen Cemetery there, they said, really reach out to the state, talk to them about requirements, you know, what we can say, what we can't say, can we tell someone? So we, as Carrie, her famous saying, we don't know what we don't,
But we
what-
don't know.
No, so we are gathering information.
Yeah.
Yeah, and our services that we provide for citizens and non-citizens, you know, they're fairly well split between a full burial and interments. So, yeah, we only have handful of lots left, really,
And we'll be,
probably something less than 40,
Mhm.
so we'll be exploring that.
yeah.
Okay, moving on to, is there any more discussion? Okay, moving on to item 3, Councilman Skinner, will you now present a Great Harbor Cosmopolis opt-in that was presented in December?
Yes, Mayor, we went through this in December. We had a presentation here by the Conservation Commission. They came down and talked to us about what opportunities we could have by joining them, becoming annexed into their whole area here in Grace Harbor, just one more of the cities. And we got done with that, and one reason or another, we never got the piece of paper signed and sent off to do this. So here it's came back and forth a couple of times, and now we're at this point where, again, we're going to try to get this to pass through. And just for a quickly reminder, I'm gonna read this, it's not very long. To the Washington State Conservation Commission, pursuant to the Conservation District's laws, Chapter 89-08 RCW, the undersigned government authorities of the city of Cosmopolis and Grace Harbor Conservation District respectively represent first, that theretofore the Grace Harbor Conservation District was duly organized as a governmental subdivision of this state and a public body, corporate and political. And second, that there is need in the interest of public health, safety, and welfare for the inclusion of the territory hereinafter described within this Grace Harbor Conservation District. Third, that the territory proposed for inclusion within the said district includes substantially the following: Incorporated City of Cosmopolis, Washington. Wherefore, the undersigned petitioners respectfully request that the State Conservation Commission duly define the boundaries of the additional territory, and that the State Conservation Commission determine that such additional territory be included and made a part of the Grace Harbor Conservation District. Then it needs to be signed by them and by our mayor. I would imagine that's who signatures are on,
Yes,
are on theirs. And I guess I'm under the impression that we all voted and agreed this in December, council wise.
we didn't vote on it, and that's what they need to have.
Yep.
So when we come to the action item portion, we will have a vote on this. So
Okay.
yes, they presented, yes, it was recorded, but we just didn't vote. We didn't understand that we needed to do a formal vote on it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, moving on to item 4, Bill Cedar, will you now present proposal for annex?
We have a petition from the owners of the property at 921 Southwest Boulevard, which is in the city limits of Aberdeen, to annex into Cosmopolis. They want to sell the property. The current owners live in Spokane. Their family members that used to live there are deceased. They want to combine the properties and sell it as one, but a portion of the front house if you look at the pictures you've got, there's a triangle there that includes a portion of that front house is divided in half, which is in Aberdeen. So they can't combine the properties because the county won't do it because one's in Aberdeen, one's in Cosmopolis. The majority of the property is in Cosmopolis. I've already discussed this with the Community Development Director in Aberdeen, Lisa Scott. And she said because it's such a small portion, which is in Aberdeen, it'd be better for them to annex into the city of Causey. So at this time, they're requesting that you vote on whether they can annex into the city of Causey. If you vote to approve that, then it will go, the next step will be, it will go to the county boundary review board. And then a decision will then be made, and then they'll have to do a lot line adjustment and a new survey for the description, the legal description of the properties. So at this time, what they're asking is that you approve the annexation of that portion of their property into the city of Cosmopolis.
Okay,
You can tell the realtor can't get it done. I'll be interested in buying just that little.
Well, what's really interesting, the house next door, a portion of their garage is in the city of
Oh, I
Cosmopolis.
see it. Yeah.
Yes.
that is interesting.
So, yeah, that area over there is really, I mean, the dividing lines between the two cities are,
I think it must have been Mill Creek ran that way at one point in time, 100 years.
no, Mill Creek's a long ways away from there. It's several blocks
100
away.
years ago.
So
Hey,
I-
Bill, this is Chris Coker. Did they do a formal petition that's in the? Did they do a written petition?
They sent an email requesting that. They had a real estate agent on board and he forwarded that to the city. Is there something else that they needed to do as far as a petition to annex into the city?
Yeah, well, so it's been a while. I'm just kind of reviewing. My last one I did was in Monty a couple years ago, but it's they're the primary, it's just their property, right? They're the only owners. Yeah, they have to do it. The rules are kind of specific. They have to do a petition. It goes to the council. The council has to approve it. And then there has to be a hearing, there has to be a public hearing. So there are some hoops they need to jump through, and then we have to send it off to the county. We have to send that position or that petition off to the county assessor's office.
Okay, so is there a specific form as far as the petition goes?
Yeah, I can get you one.
Okay,
Okay.
so at this time, do we table the vote from the council on it?
Correct, right, because I think we'd have to get a petition, and then we have to get through some procedural stuff first, and then the council would basically agree to move forward with it.
Okay.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay. And Bill, I'll get you the process tomorrow or Friday. But again, it's hoops you got to jump through.
Okay, yeah, I know with the boundary review board from the county that they set up a number of years ago that because there were some issues.
Yes, correct. And in my experience has been the boundary review board will usually not even, most of the time they don't even respond, so then we can just move forward. But we have to at least go through the process. So
Okay.
Chris, do we have to publish in the newspaper for the public hearing?
I think so. Yep.
Just like we would for a Board of Adjustments?
Yeah, it takes a little bit of time. There's like it takes a little bit of time, but I don't expect any pitfalls with it. It just takes a little bit of time.
Okay, so we'll table that, then move on, Bill, to the review of the. Oh.
Oh, that's right.
Miscellaneous building permit and inspection.
So last month I presented the changes in some building permit fees. Yeah, I didn't hear anything back, any comments back from any of the council members, so I'm assuming that everything was all kosher. So this month, we'll be voting on the resolutions for those permit fees. Carrie has broken them down into different, titles that kind of go together so that we're not just lumping them all into one. We have specific different resolutions.
Okay, at this time then, public comment. Are there any public comments? If so, please state your first name only, and please only address the council body, not one individual. Any comment? Okay, moving on to new business. These are action items.
Council comments.
No,
Public comment, then it says council comment on my sheet. I got removed.
Yeah.
Read the bottom, right? It down below.
Yeah. Council comment.
We're on 11.
We already did.
Yeah.
Okay, I stand corrected.
okay,
People blame
Not the first time.
People blame Jeremy for that.
that's okay,
Yeah, Jeremy's problem.
okay. Okay, so, new business. This is to approve the petition of additional territory within Grace Harbor Conservation District. Is there a motion?
Councilman Spargo motions to approve.
Is there a second?
Councilmember Colette seconds.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Petition passes. Next,
This one we're not gonna do.
Councilman Spargo motions to table the annex of 921 Southwest Boulevard.
Councilmember Colette seconds that.
any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Okay. Next,
Mayor, at this time, I would like to make a motion to move all 6 of these items, 3 through 9, and be able to take one vote on all 9 of those resolutions. We've went over them. They've been discussed at the last meeting. And if there's any questions on them, I guess then we would have to look back at it, but
Last 7.
the last 7, 3 through 9, right?
Yeah.
Yep, okay. I didn't go far.
is there a motion?
Made the motion to do that.
No, is there a second?
Councilmember Darcy seconds that.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Resolution passed. Your motion.
Motion
passes.
passed.
Motion passes.
Now, vote for the resolutions.
Now, is there a vote for the
A
resolution?
motion to accept those resolutions stated before.
Councilmember Colette seconds that.
Is there any discussion?
I just wanna make one comment. I thank Mr. Sedor for all the work that he's put into updating all this. I know it's taken a lot of time and I just want to thank you for all that. Appreciate
Agree.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, take the compliment. You've been very busy.
He just dotted down some numbers.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The
Resolutions passed.
Passed.
resolution passed.
Okay, now we can go all the way to the end.
That was a lot.
That's it.
So at this time, public comment. If you have a comment, please state your first name. Please address the council body as a whole. Are there any public comment? Hearing none, moving on to council comment.
I have a few comments. Mayor, I just wanted to, I guess a couple of things that you shared in your report. One regarding tree removal. Have we spoken with the forestry program at the college?
Yes, I've had a couple calls into,
Okay, I spoke with Todd Bates, who runs, and he said he'd be happy to have the students come do tree removal and invasive species removal, anytime.
yeah, I spoke with him last year and he was really excited about it. I called twice. I have not heard back, and so absolutely, absolutely.
You know, I'll send an email.
Okay, perfect.
Maybe I can get you two in contact.
I'm always reaching out. You'd be
Yeah,
surprised.
for them, they, shared it would be a really valuable learning experience for the students, at the college, and they can't necessarily do felling, but they can do removal.
Right, and he had talked about that, about trail cleanup and everything last year, and it was really exciting. Now, you didn't hear back, so I was right on it this year,
Yeah.
especially with that. So please follow up with him.
Yeah, I will. The other, comment was regarding the new, planters from the, I can never seem to remember the correction. The pedal pushers. Thank you.
Bobby pedal. push.
Yeah. And I know we had discussed a while back, potentially, having some new planters installed at the corridor in the parking strip. As I forget what the term is when the city, does that, but it's a kind of a, have you ever been to a city where they have a planter sort of in the road in the parking strip? So that as you're coming up, you see, okay, there's something there off to the side, you slow down a bit. So this one's trying to say, there's a term for it, but I don't remember.
Yeah, and I don't know what the term is, and I don't recall that. So, I don't recall that, but that'd be something we could discuss. So as far as the Coffee Pedal Pusher, they are a nonprofit team. Actually, when I had the nonprofit Friends of Highland Park and Parks of Cosmopolis, that was another nonprofit that I added on to that. And so not being able to be part of that, Marty Schumacher with the team picked it up. And so everything that they do is donation based. Brittany Berry did write a small grant this year. They ended up getting $2,000 or $3,000 to help with the flower purchase. And then Marty did send a letter out to businesses, did get quite a few donations. And so this is really,
Yeah, thank you. And the reason I bring that up is because I would be interested in working with the pedal pushers if they would like to, procure planters for either side of the corridor.
okay.
And I personally might be willing to donate to that cause or help them research it. I would imagine there's some sort of bureaucratic tape, as there always is, to put something, in those streets to make sure that we're doing.
Yeah, and I'm not sure about the streets. Bill would probably address that. I know when we first started putting the planner downtown on the corridor, working with the path maintenance, Jeff Nation, there was had to be placed so far from the street and in a certain, specific area where it wouldn't impede walking or anything. And so they were very aware of that. And so,
Yeah, these are, sometimes they don't use planters if they don't care how it looks. Sometimes you just see a big cement block, but essentially it's a strategy that cities use to prevent folks who are speeding through.
Traffic calming device.
Yeah,
Traffic
it's a
calming
traffic
device.
calming device, yeah. I forget the exact term for that. But yeah.
and I think being on a state highway, that's something that we would really have to explore
Yeah,
and talk to Bill about, because we may not be able to do that. Talking about that, I was looking at, and I'm working with a couple of companies, trying to look at some funding for speed signs that will be solo, solo speed signs and by the parks. And so I'm hoping by the end of the year, I'm gonna find some funds that will help slow people down besides our officers. So, okay.
And then my only other comment was to, welcome our new planning commission members, and, I look forward to working with you, the members of the Parks Committee, and also on the Cosmopolis revitalization efforts, and please feel free to reach out to me anytime. Love to chat.
Thank you. Only one comment, and I'll keep it quick. When we're talking about getting, whether it be the men for people from the students from the college or whatever, where does liability, I'm not saying about falling a tree, but you can still be in the process of just trying to remove some logs or whatever, and somebody can get hurt. And who's liable? Is City of Causey or is the college liable for taking the responsibility for their students?
I can't give a definitive answer, but I'm sure that the college has some measure of liability and probably some measure of, insurance.
It's just a concern I think we have with all the volunteers that we have helping in the city. Whether it's mowing or doing anything, even the pedal pushers out here and not having any cones, any sign up that say they're working on those flower pots. They pull up in a parking strip, yes, but they're out and about and, some kind of notice that these people are out there working. We don't find many towns, cities, any state streets, any place that are not signage put up when people are working.
Aberdeen Parks Department has, a group of ladies that go out and during the summertime and clean up. And the city of Aberdeen provides, those pink, vests
Yes.
that they wear and everything, but they don't have any signage up. But that's something you could probably reach out to Stacy or Austin and find out any information as far as what they do for those ladies. Cause they're all volunteers too.
And we modeled our program. I talk to Stacy quite frequently. And actually, she had me reach out to Hopeland because being a small community without the funding or resources that Aberdeen has for their flower project program, every volunteer has a vest, a safety vest. I don't think it would be an issue if they wanted to put a cone out and we can provide that. And every volunteer in the community has to sign a waiver or form that, and they have to report when they're working, and we track all of that for labor and industry. So we are on top of that.
That's it
I
for
don't advocate for having people, work for the city without coverage, but there's always liability waivers.
And Hopeland is a really prime example that they were a city that didn't have the extra funds, and you look how their flower program has really developed and flourished. And that's all volunteers, and they take their little watering jugs like we do because we don't have the machinery to go out there. And Mr. Allen that sits back there, you could speak to it. Don't you have 3 planters that you take care of during the summer?
Oh, yes. I do.
Yeah. And do you wear your vest? But he will. Okay, so, yeah. Okay, any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, I will,
Motion to adjourn the meeting?
is there,
Councilman Spargo motions to adjourn?
is there a second?
Councilman Colette seconds it.
Meeting
Meeting is
adjourned.
adjourned at
All in favor?
7:53.
Thank you.
We're all.
Yeah.
No.